Not every dog behavior is random. Some of it is routine, some of it is habit, and some of it is your dog trying over and over to get one message through to you before the moment passes. Most people notice the behavior. Very few understand the meaning. And that's where the disconnect begins, because the truth is, dogs do not go silent. They adapt. They communicate with position, pressure, movement, eye contact, distance, timing, and repetition. And once you learn how to read those signals, ordinary moments start to feel completely different. Today, we're going to break down 10 everyday things dogs do and what they may really be trying to communicate in that moment. Not in a dramatic fantasy way. Not in a way that turns every little habit into a grand emotional speech, but in a practical, emotionally intelligent way that helps you respond better. And one quick note before we start. This isn't a diagnosis, but it can help you tell the difference between normal attachment and behavior that may need support. Stay with me, because the last few signs are the ones people dismiss most often. And sometimes, those are the signals that matter most. Welcome to Mr. Hidden Mind. This is where we slow behavior down and hear what most people miss. Let's begin. 1. When your dog stretches in front of you, you've seen this 100 times. You're standing in the kitchen. You're answering a text. You're halfway out of your chair. And your dog walks right into your space, lowers the front half of the body, stretches long through the legs, and looks your way. Most people read this as just a body stretch. And sometimes, yes, Mom, that's all it is. But often, timing changes everything. If that stretch happens right as they approach you, especially with a bright face, loose body, and a little bounce afterward, it is often an invitation, a social one, a soft opening. Your dog is not just loosening up. They're saying, I'm available. Are you with me? That posture is closely related to the classic play bow. And in canine social behavior, it helps keep interactions friendly and clear. It lowers tension. It signals good intent. It says this moment is safe. But here's the deeper insight most owners miss. Dogs often use stretching, not just to prepare the body, but to shape the emotional tone of an interaction. A dog may stretch near you before play, before affection, or even before trying to reconnect after being ignored for a while. It can be a bridge behavior. A way of saying, can we reset this moment together? And there's another version worth noticing. If your dog does a long, slow, relaxed stretch near you with sleepy eyes, soft muscles, and no urgency, that often reflects comfort, not excitement, security. That is a dog whose nervous system is not on high alert, a dog who feels safe enough to fully let go. Practical insight. Watch what happens after the stretch. If they bounce, grab a toy, paw at you, or circle back, it was probably social. If they sigh, lie down, or settle close to you, it was probably comfort. Same movement, different message. The body speaks. Context translates. 2. When your dog stares at you in silence, there is a kind of stare that feels almost physical. You turn around, and there they are. Still, focused, quiet, no barking. No whining. Just that fixed attention. A soft, relaxed stare from a calm dog is often one of the clearest bonding moments you can have. Research has shown that mutual gaze between dogs and humans can increase oxytocin in both. That means this is not just your imagination. Connection is actually happening in the body. Your dog may not be doing nothing when they look at you like that. They may be checking in, synchronizing, reinforcing the bond. In simple terms, sometimes your dog stares because being near you feels good. Not because they want something, because you are the something. But not every stare is emotional in the same way. Some stares are requests disguised as silence. These usually happen around patterns your dog already understands. The leash, the food container, the cabinet where treats live. The exact time of day when something good normally happens. This is where dogs become brilliant observers. They learn your routines faster than you realize. And once they know the pattern, they don't need noise. They use precision. You'll often see gaze shifting here. They look at you, then the object, then back to you. That's not random, that's referential communication. It means, I know you can see this. I need you to do something about it. Here's the practical part. If your dog stares at you softly while resting, respond with calm presence. That builds trust. If your dog stares at you intensely to demand things all day long, pause before rewarding it every single time. Otherwise, you accidentally teach them that silent pressure controls the room. The goal is not to ignore communication. The goal is to respond with structure. And that's how a dog feels heard without becoming frantic. 3. When your dog walks away, then looks back at you. This is one of the most intelligent things dogs do, and one of the most overlooked. Your dog approaches you, makes eye contact, walks a few steps away, stops, looks back, waits, then does it again. That is often not random movement. That is a guided invitation to follow. Dogs do this when they believe there is something you need to see or solve. An empty bowl, a closed door, a dropped toy under furniture, a noise near the backyard gate, a room they don't want to enter alone, even a routine they think you forgot. And what makes this powerful is not just the behavior itself. It's the assumption behind it. Your dog believes you are the one who can help. That changes how the whole moment feels. They are not simply being needy. They are recruiting the only creature in the house with hands, access, and authority. That's trust in action. And here's a fresh angle most people never think about. Dogs don't just lead you toward needs. Sometimes they lead you toward uncertainty. A hallway they heard something in, a room that smells different, a visitor's bag, a strange object on the floor. In those moments, your dog may be saying, "I noticed this first. I don't know what it means. Check it with me." That makes following them more than obedience. It becomes shared investigation. Practical insight. The next time your dog tries to lead you somewhere, don't brush it off immediately. Follow once. See what happens. If the behavior repeats in a pattern, you'll start noticing whether it's about water, access, discomfort, boredom, or reassurance. Sometimes the destination is the message. 4. When your dog brings you an object, a ball, a rope, a shoe you wish they had not chosen, a sock they clearly feel proud about, a stuffed toy that looks older than your relationship, they bring it to you and wait. Yes, sometimes it simply means, "Play with me." That part is real. Object presentation is one of the clearest ways dogs initiate interaction. It's direct, it's efficient, and if they keep choosing you, that matters. Out of the whole house, they picked you as the social partner for the moment. But this behavior has more layers than people think. Sometimes bringing you an object is not about the object at all. It's about starting emotional contact without asking for full body closeness. Not every dog walks up and demands cuddles. Some dogs bring something. That item becomes a bridge. A socially easier way to say, "I want engagement, but I need a little structure around it." That is especially common in dogs who are affectionate but a little awkward. Dogs who want connection but regulate it through play, caring, movement, or tasks. And then there is the proud version. You can usually tell. The head is high, the steps are springy, the dog seems almost ceremonial about it. That can be a form of presentation, not "look what I stole," but "look what I have." Your dog may be sharing, reporting, or inviting recognition. And yes, sometimes the most meaningful version is when they offer you a prized object and don't seem to want a game at all. That can reflect trust, a willingness to bring value into your space without defensiveness. Practical insight. Notice whether your dog wants you to throw it, take it, praise it, or simply acknowledge it. Those are 4 different conversations. When you respond accurately, your dog becomes easier to understand over time. 5. When your dog puts a paw on you. The paw is easy to laugh at because it feels almost human. A light tap on your knee, a slow press onto your arm, a repeat touch when you keep looking at your screen. This is one of the clearest attention bids dogs use. Your dog has learned that physical contact changes your focus, and when they need that focus, the paw is often the fastest route. In many cases, the message is simple. Come back for a second. Not forever. Not necessarily for food. Not always for a walk. Just reconnect. And that matters. Especially in modern homes where dogs spend long stretches adjusting to divided attention. Phones, laptops, calls, TV, background stress. Dogs notice the difference between your body being present and your attention being available. The paw often appears when those 2 things stop matching, but again, context changes meaning. A quick paw during food prep is usually a request. A repeated paw while you're talking to someone else can be social interruption. A slow, lingering paw after a loud noise or stressful event can be reassurance-seeking. That last one matters. If the paw is soft, still, and paired with leaning, your dog may not be asking you to do something out in the world. They may be asking you to become the stable thing in the room. Practical insight. Don't just ask, "What does the paw mean?" Ask, "What was happening right before the paw?" That question will tell you far more than the behavior alone, because sometimes your dog wants stimulation. Sometimes they want structure. And sometimes they just want your nervous system to help regulate theirs. 6. When your dog inserts themselves between you and someone else, you're hugging someone, talking closely, laughing with a friend, giving your attention fully to another person, and suddenly your dog appears in the middle, like they were personally appointed to supervise the entire interaction. Most people call this jealousy. And while that word points in the right direction, it can oversimplify what's really happening. Dogs are highly social and highly attachment-oriented. When the emotional center of the room shifts away from them, many dogs respond by physically repositioning themselves closer to that center. Not because they are trying to control your relationships, because they are trying to restore their place in the group. That is a huge difference. Your dog may be saying, "I still belong in this moment too." And sometimes that's all it is. A social adjustment, a request for inclusion. But there is another version that deserves attention. Dogs are excellent readers of emotional tension. Not words. Energy. Tone changes. Body stiffness. Faster movement. Raised voices. Abrupt silence. When that shift happens, some dogs move between people not to interrupt affection, but to interrupt stress. They are trying to reduce pressure in the only way they know how, with presence. That doesn't mean the dog fully understands the conflict. It means they can feel that the room no longer feels the same. Practical insight. If your dog constantly pushes between you and others with escalating anxiety, whining, or inability to settle, that may need support. If they briefly step in, receive acknowledgement, and relax, that is usually normal social behavior. This is where the disclaimer matters. This isn't a diagnosis, but it can help you tell the difference between normal attachment and behavior that may need support. If the behavior is flexible, it is usually less concerning. If it is rigid, intense, and impossible to interrupt, pay closer attention. 7. When your dog nudges you with their nose, a nose nudge is more deliberate than it looks. It's not just contact, it's targeted contact. Your dog may nudge your hand, your leg, the treat bag, the leash, the blanket, or even the exact arm you stopped using to pet them. That precision tells you something important. The dog is not simply activated. They are directing you. And dogs often move to nose contact after softer communication has failed. Maybe they stared first. Maybe they shifted closer. Maybe they waited. You didn't respond. So now the message becomes physical. Pay attention right here. That's what makes the nose nudge so useful to read. It is often an escalation signal, but not an aggressive one, just a clearer one. Here's where owners miss the nuance. A nose nudge toward an object is usually about access. A nose nudge toward your body can be about attention. A gentle press after stress can be about grounding. That last one is especially important. After fireworks, thunder, visitors, tension, travel, or unfamiliar environments, some dogs don't bark or panic visibly. They simply come over and press their nose into you. That can be a quiet form of self-soothing through contact. The dog is borrowing steadiness. Practical insight. If your dog nudges you, don't respond automatically. First, look at the target. What exactly are they touching? You? An item? A location? That distinction often reveals the message instantly. Behavior gets easier to read when you stop treating all contact as the same. 8. When your dog tilts their head while you talk, there are few things more instantly lovable than a head tilt. You say their name. You mention a favorite word. You ask a question they may not fully understand. And suddenly the head tips sideways as if they're trying to decode your soul. It looks adorable because it is. But it is also functional. A head tilt can help dogs adjust how they receive sound. It can also help them get a better visual angle on your face, especially your mouth and eyes. In other words, the tilt may be part hearing, part reading. And that says something beautiful about attention. Your dog is not just hearing noise. They are trying to gather meaning. They listen with the ears. They listen with the eyes. They listen with memory. That's why some dogs tilt more around familiar words, routines, names, or emotionally loaded phrases. They are not only reacting to sound, they may be recognizing patterns, but here's the part that adds value for the viewer. A head tilt can also tell you something about how engaged your dog is with your communication style. Dogs who have been spoken to consistently, trained with clear marker words, or included in routine language often become very attentive to subtle human vocal patterns. They don't understand language the way we do, but they become excellent students of rhythm, tone, and repetition. Practical insight. Use that. If you want stronger communication with your dog, keep important phrases consistent. Outside. Wait. Dinner. All done. Find it. Clear repeated verbal markers help dogs organize your world faster. And when your dog tilts their head, it may be the clear sign they are trying to meet you halfway. 9. When your dog follows you from room to room, this is the one many owners joke about. You stand up, they stand up. You go to the kitchen, they go to the kitchen. You move 2 steps for no clear reason, and somehow they are already behind you. At a basic level, this is normal for many dogs. Dogs are social animals. They are built to notice movement, follow important group members, and stay oriented toward whatever predicts safety, activity, or change. So no, following you does not automatically mean something is wrong. Sometimes it simply means you matter. You are the center of routine, the predictor of meals, walks, doors opening, interesting sounds, changes in the environment. You are, in many ways, the moving source code of the household. But there are layers here. For some dogs, following is optimistic. Something good might happen. For some, it is affiliative. They just prefer to be where you are. And for others, it can begin to drift into anxiety-based attachment if separation, even inside the home, triggers visible distress. That is where owners need nuance instead of panic. A dog who follows you and then settles peacefully nearby is very different from a dog who cannot eat, rest, or regulate unless you remain in sight. A dog who checks on you is different from a dog who spirals when a door closes. This is where your response matters. If your dog is happily social, enjoy it without guilt. If your dog seems unable to relax independently, start building safe moments of separation in tiny doses. Calm mat time. Short distance. Predictable returns. No drama in leaving. No huge emotional reunion every single time. Practical insight. Watch for flexibility. Can your dog follow you, then settle? Can they remain okay when you move briefly out of sight? Can they recover? Flexibility usually points to healthy attachment. Rigidity suggests the dog may need more support. Again, not a diagnosis, but absolutely a useful distinction. And beneath all of it is a truth many owners feel before they can explain it. When your dog follows you, it is often because home is not only a place to them. Sometimes, home is a person. 10. When your dog licks your hands, your face, or even the air around you, we've reached the behavior people explain too quickly. He just likes the salt. She's just being weird. He does that to everyone. Sometimes those things are partly true, but licking is rarely meaningless. Licking has deep roots in canine bonding, care, greeting, appeasement, and information gathering. It can reflect affection, submission, relief-seeking, curiosity, stress reduction, or social closeness. That's why this behavior matters so much. Not because it always means one thing. Because it tells you a lot when you pay attention to the version you're getting. A slow, affectionate lick during a calm cuddle moment is very different from rapid, repetitive licking during stress. A greeting lick at your hand is different from compulsive licking after a trigger. A few licks after you come home may be social reconnection. Endless licking with a glazed, restless energy may be the dog trying to regulate discomfort. So yes, love may be in it. Very often it is. When dogs lick a trusted human in a calm moment, that can absolutely be an affiliative behavior, a family signal, a closeness ritual. But here's the added value your audience needs. Do not romanticize every lick. If the licking is paired with pacing, lip licking, yawning, panting when it is not hot, inability to settle, or fixation that seems hard to interrupt, you read the whole picture. That dog may be stressed, overstimulated, or dysregulated. The most loving thing you can do is not assume affection when the body is telling a different story. Practical insight. Look at pace, intensity, and context. A few calm licks in connection, usually normal. Frantic, repetitive licking with tension in the body, that may be your dog asking for help, not just closeness. And that right there may be the most important shift in this entire video. Not every loving-looking behavior is purely about love. Sometimes it is also about coping. When you learn that difference, you stop just reacting. You start understanding. If you've watched this far, here's what I want you to remember. Your dog is probably communicating far more often than you think. Not with words, with timing, with patterns, with posture, with repetition, with all the little choices they make around you every day. The stretch, the stare, the object they carry over, the paw on your arm, the nose against your hand, the way they follow, the way they lick. None of these moments should be read in isolation. That's the real secret. The meaning is not hidden in the behavior alone. It's hidden in the behavior plus the moment. What happened right before it? What happens right after it? How flexible is your dog? How intense is the signal? Are they inviting, asking, coping, reconnecting, or trying to regulate stress? That is how you become easier for your dog to live with. And that is how your dog becomes easier for you to understand. At Mr. Hidden Mind, we don't just watch behavior, we listen beneath it. So next time your dog does one of these things, pause before you label it. Observe the context, read the body, notice the timing. Then answer the message that is actually being sent. Because being loved by a dog is special, but being understood by one is even rarer. And when your dog realizes you finally understood them, even for 1 second, you can feel the relationship change. If this opened your eyes, stay close to Mr. Hidden Mind. This is where we uncover the quiet signals, the hidden patterns, and the meaning most people walk right past. Tell me in the comments, which behavior does your dog do the most? And after hearing this, what do you think they've been trying to say?